Welcome back from that break. Now let's get deep into the conversation and of course on the rising insecurity that Nigeria has witnessed in the last 1 month. I'm being joined by Timothy Avili, who is a security expert. He joins me via Zoom. A very good evening, Timothy, if you can hear me.
Thank you very much, Chinaza.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. We really do appreciate it. Now, talk to us about the current surge across the country. And do you think the security architecture has been compromised?
Well, it's not unfortunate, but we don't want to use the language compromise. But it is not too good what is happening. It shows that there is still a lot of work to be done, especially by the new service chief. In fact, the insecurity is by way of saying that welcome, that we are here and we are ready for you. So that's what it is.
Okay, but then we've seen a significant rise in abductions over the past months. What factor do you believe driving the sudden escalation? What has been the driving escalation?
Yeah, basically there are two things driving the escalation. One is possibly that the insurgents, they are planning a bigger attack, and so they needed funds. So when they need this kidnapping is just a distraction. So they are actually planning a bigger attack. So the security must be on guard. So they need funds. That is one. Two, it's a kind of embarrassing the government. It's a kind of embarrassing the government, telling them that there's nothing you are doing that can affect us, that we are on ground. So that's what it means. You notice how the thing was coordinated and happening this and exact time. We know that truly they really want to let the government know that all the things they have been doing has no effect on them at all.
But from your own end, what do you think the government have been doing actually? Have they really been doing enough?
Well, the truth is that it is going to be very difficult for the government to, maybe the federal government to do enough. I think the state need to do a lot. I want to say that the state are supposed to do like 60%, while the federal government do 40%. That's the only way. But if states should wait for federal government, maybe there's a crisis and a demand for troops, that will not solve the problem at all. Because as you are sending to maybe to Borno, the next state is always having issues. So the state has a lot of work to do, which is not too difficult if we are to reduce this insecurity.
All right. How would you assess the response of security agencies in handling the rising of adoption? We've seen series of abduction. It went from Kebbi to Kwara State, and from Kwara State to Niger State, and now also to some other states. What do you think, or how do you think that the security agencies has been responding to it? Have they been responding well enough?
The truth is that there's a gap. The gap of lack of intelligence, actionable intelligence, and the lack of appropriate technology that's supposed to enable them. I don't know if you have been to Niger State. Even if you deployed 10,000 army there, it won't even solve the problem without technology. So that is one of the areas they need help. They need technology like drones, not just all these local drones. No, they need sophisticated drones. And these drones, they can even be built locally. They don't need to say it until you import. No, they can build it locally and it will be of a greater system. But just demanding on only personnel that you deploy 10,000 or so men to so state, that will not solve the problem at all.
But how confident are you in the military forces? Because we've seen what has happened in the last 1 month or less than 1 month. We've seen how these people even come out on social media and on the internet to make utterances. Are you saying that the military is overwhelmed?
Well, I have confidence in the security agencies. You can see that even the DSS is getting good information and even giving warning heads. But I think the problem there now is to respond. To respond, who is to respond? Maybe the police will say, well, it's not our duty, it should be the military. The military say, well, it's DSS. DSS, you get information, why can't you act on it? Why are you giving us the information? Act on it. You're also a security agent. So that is a problem. It's a problem that the president himself will need to really call the security chief and find a solution to it. It's a problem that even when you receive intelligence, who is to act on it? It's a problem that they need to work on.
All right. Now, talking about the steps to take, you've mentioned technology. And over time, we've seen what is being allocated to military and defense. And we can't still see any difference, or there seems not to be no difference. How far or how well do you think technology would help?
Yes, when they make sure maybe they budgeted so trillion on security, security hardware, they are very expensive, very, very expensive.
How expensive exactly?
That is not to say that, for example, now, an enterprise drone, for a military drone that can be on air for, let's say, 20 hours, that can fly for a whole day, be in the air, you'll be talking of about almost close to $1 million for one. $1 million. You just imagine, but you calculate $1 million.
So in other words, you're trying to say that the military is being underfunded, is that it?
Far, far underfunded, that's the truth. They are supposed to even recover some money from non-essential political spending, to security. Because if you are not secure, I don't know, you can even see that even politicians now, they don't go on roads now. They go on flights because there's no safety. So I think the government and especially the National Assembly should look at funding the security, because that is where everything starts. Economic development, whatever you want to talk about. If the country is not safe, nobody will want to come and invest. So they should look at tripling the current budget they are allocating to security. It's not enough at all.
Okay, we've taken notes, you mentioning that the military is being underfunded. But then, do you even still think that if this military is even still well-funded, there is no sort of promises with what they do? You don't find them complicit? Well,
even though the funding is just one part of it, funding is one part, the military and the other security agencies, they still have a lot of work to do. For example, they need proper training. They are still using the old, outdated techniques in fighting modern insecurity. That's one of their problems. So even though they are funded and they are not attuned to latest development, then we will still be running around the circle. For example, the insurgents and the Boko Haram, ISWAP, they are now using cyber operations. They even as far as communicating through the dark web. And it's unfortunate that the majority of our security agencies, they don't even know how to operate when it comes to cyber operations. I would say that 90%, they are not really updated. So it's a problem that the security agencies chief, we want to, as a matter of urgency, see how they can come up to terms with the latest reality. Now, it will surprise you that even Boko Haram, ISWAP, they are building their own drones now. Since late last year, they are developing their own technology themselves. So if the security agency...
You mean the ISWAP are beginning to develop
yes.
technology?
Yeah, develop their drones. For example, now, when they started early this year, the drone was just to surveil military bases. But now they are not even arming those drones on their by self to attack. And so they are practicing. If we do not improve now, by maybe in the next 3-4 months, you see that the type of attack that will be happening will shock even the president. So it's something that we need to sit down and update. We are not updating. We are still using old methods.
All right. I'm curious on how porous our borders are, because we've seen reports that says that some of these terrorists are not even Nigerians. They are some people from Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, and the rest of it from the neighboring countries. As a security analyst, talk to us about how porous our borders are.
The truth is that the borders, they are porous. That is quite, I have traveled like Niger State, Kwara to Lagos, and if you have traveled there by road, in fact, you really know that even though you deployed 10,000 military, you can't even solve it. So the only way is, one, we still need to fall back to technology, like long-distance thermal cameras, drones, and other modern border security technology. Because that area of influx, that's a problem. But I still believe that for those foreigners to come and act here, the locals must assist them. So the problem, I had not really.
How is that? Because we've even seen report recently that say that nearly 2,000 borders we have, just 84 of it is being manned. So I'm wondering when you said even communities encourages them.
No. What I mean is that those influx, those terrorists that comes in, if you don't have local support, they cannot succeed. That's what I mean. There's
if you don't have what? Please come in.
They don't have local support.
Okay.
They need to have local support for them to succeed.
But there is no check even at our borders.
Yes, the border is porous. We are all agreed. So that is where for example, the NIA, National Intelligence Agency, DIA, all this one, they need a lot of work to do.
Who should we blame in that regard? Should we blame our military?
The border is, you can't really blame the military because they are not really equipped. They are not really equipped to protect it. How would you be able to protect it? Are you going to use maybe yourself, or like I said, even if you, for example, in Niger State, if you deploy 10,000 officers, they won't be able to protect only Niger State, the borders. It's a very large state. No talk of Sokoto, no talk of Zamfara, Kefi, and the other states. These are very large states. So relying on the security agency to protect the border is like a tall dream. It's not going to work. And the government knows that. The only way to work is for us to upgrade and go for technology. For example, a drone can protect a large portion that even 10,000 security personnel cannot. And it will be there 24/7 monitoring. So these are the things that we need. It's not magic. It is a reality. And especially now incorporating artificial intelligence, and of course, can protect the borders.
Okay, now there's been a lot of question on whether or not the Nigerian security agency can handle the situation at hand now, because yes, we've always known that there is insecurity in Nigeria, but the one we've seen in the last 1 month and few weeks, it's just been something else. So there is a question of whether or not Nigerian military can handle that, or do they need international intervention?
The truth is that if you have close to Nigerian security agencies, they can work magic if they are motivated and equipped. They are even more, I don't know how to put it. If you have worked with them, you see that they are capable. They can handle the insecurity in the country effectively. If they are motivated, 1, 2, if they are well resourced, they can work. I can give you 100% that the Nigerian security agency can handle the insecurity happening. If, 1, they are supported by a kind of logistics, 1, they are motivated, because most of the time, it will surprise you that, like DSS, it's only the DSS in the capital, Abuja, maybe state, but if you go to local government, you see that they don't have tools to work. I've interviewed a lot of them, they don't have tools. So imagine that those local government DSS are well equipped. Definitely you see that intelligence will be flowing, but they don't have tools to work. So when they are motivated, then, and given the necessary tools, these tools not just maybe allocating money and at the end of the year, you will not see anything. No, there should be an effective monitoring. If the government is releasing something for equipment, they should be audited and sure that these things are actually given to them and they are using. And you see the result. They can work well and they can handle this security even much more. We don't need foreigners to come to assist. We can handle it locally.
Now, talk to us about the role you think state policing can do, and when it comes to state policing, how would that help in curbing insecurity in Nigeria?
Yes, the time has come for state policing. It's very important. You know, the locals know their areas more than others. Yes, they know when someone enters, when someone leaves. Even in the forest, the locals knows. Yes, in fact, in some of those areas, like in Castina, Kebbi, and all that, it will surprise you that the locals, they even know the exact camp of these terrorists. So they know those things. But the question is that they are not equipped to go after them, the house, because the terrorists are more equipped, highly advancedly equipped.
Now, there is a question on who is equipping them.
You mean the terrorists?
Yes. How are they being equipped? How do they get arms? How are they being funded?
Yeah, so that is one area that our intelligence agency have failed. Our entire security agency structure have failed. So there's nothing you're going to say or do that will improve security when we cannot close the gap of weapons flowing in. It will surprise you that some of these weapons are even imported. They come through the port. They come through our ports and pass through the custom security. Yes, some come to the borders. And even some are sourced locally, even from rogue security agents and military officers. If some of those they have arrested, they will tell you they got these weapons from either police or army or so on and so forth. So the inflow of weapons is a major factor making the rise of insecurity. Because when we talk of terrorism, it's two things. One, money. If there's no money, there's no terrorism. They need money to buy equipment, to pay their men and all that. Then the next thing is weapons. So without weapon, it's just like you and me. You know, and it is because they have this sophisticated weapon, that is why they are not afraid of soldiers. If you like deploy 1 million soldiers, they will continue to attack because they are also equipped, fully armed. So we need to find a means of stopping the inflow of weapons. First of all, from the port. And how can we do that? It is not difficult. Every weapon have a mark or a signature. Our intelligence agencies can trace this weapon to source. Who is producing this weapon? From which country? Who bought it? And how did they come in? All these are intelligence work, which they are not doing. They are not doing enough in that area. So they need to wake up and actually see how they can stop the inflow of weapons. That is when we start to begin to talk of that we are working on something on insecurity. Otherwise, we'll just be wasting money in buying things and the weapon will continue to flow in.
It is said that traditional rulers understand their communities better. So in the battle of tackling insecurity, do you think these traditional rulers have a major role to play?
Oh, the traditional rulers, they should be part of the state policing program the government is planning. The traditional should have a role to play. You know, in the local communities, they have more respect even for the traditional ruler than to police and other security agencies. People have more respect to them. They can tell them secrets that they will not tell to security agency, feeling that maybe security agency will betray them. So they have more confidence in these traditional rulers in divulging confidential matters. So they should be incorporated, because once you do not incorporate them, they will feel that, well, they are not concerned. If there's a problem, let the police or the DSS or the army, let them handle it. But when they are brought in, they are part of it. They are told that you are part of it, for good or bad, then they have a role to play. And I think they will really play a lot of role in containing some of these inflows, especially by giving early intelligence information to the appropriate authorities.
Okay, beyond emergency response, what long-term strategy are required to reduce insecurity and prevent abduction going forward in Nigeria?
Yes, the best and the fastest solution would be, like I mentioned the other time, states. States need to have a digital intelligent alert system. Just an app, just build an app. The state can spend less than 100 million, and I can tell you that that state will be having live intelligence at every given minute. You just build an app, let the citizen know that this is a reporting app, that you can report your anything confidentially, and there is such information within 60 seconds. We're not talking of minutes, 60 seconds. Those in the center will be trained to analyze information and confirm information. They will have about, using AI, they can process any information within 4 minutes. And so such information will pass to the responding team within 5 minutes. So or 10 minutes is enough to get information, process it, and pass it to the responding team. So the state can set up all this in their individual state and create response team. The federal government will only support maybe with troops, to be on standby. A situation whereby you share soldiers along all the road in a state, that will not improve security. But they should be in a kind of a standby to respond to emergency. So the state first creates a digital intelligence receiving platform. It is not difficult and it's not expensive at all. That you'll be getting intelligence at every minute. Then you have a response team. With that, and including technology, don't forget that those men that are going to work, like the police, DSL, you need to motivate them. You need to motivate them. Nobody wants to go and die for another person, without giving the corresponding benefit. So let us motivate them. Let us give them the tools they need. But on the security agency side, they need to upgrade their training to be able to cope with the rising kind of high tech that those terrorists are using now.
Okay, you've mentioned some factors that are responsible for lack of insecurity or lack of security in Nigeria. Rather, you've mentioned the agencies, security agencies being underfunded. You've also mentioned funding. Now, beyond all of that, people are saying that the high insecurity Nigeria witness as a country is politically motivated. So I'm wondering, with all that you've mentioned, even if it's being provided today, with this speculation of, some elites are responsible or are involved in the level of high insecurity we've seen in Nigeria, do you think we can still succeed as a nation fighting insecurity?
Of course, we can still succeed. In the first place, to those that expert in counterterrorism, we know that terrorism is a political tool in the first instance. So the government must know that any act of terrorism is a political tool. Anywhere in the world, whether it's in the US, whether anywhere, it's a political tool. It is a kind of way of, that is the final way to bargain with the government to give you concession. So while we are aware that in politics, there will be violence and maybe some elements who want to, encourage acts of terrorism to weaken the government, to discredit the current government and all that. But if the security agencies are doing their work and they are fully equipped, they will be able to manage it with the barest minimum. There's no country that there's no insecurity. Even in the US, you see people, maybe their own is different. They go to school and kill people. Other countries, they also have their form of insecurity. But there are differences that they respond immediately and even get those people arrested. But like in Nigeria, how many bandits or ISWAP, how many have they been arrested? So that's the issue. So if you don't arrest them, you allow them, they are there, they are armed, you are negotiating with them. So how would you talk of securing the nation? It won't work. So whether somebody imported them from anywhere, but if we are equipped and well-resourced and doing our work, then we can manage it.
Now, having mentioned those factors hindering security in Nigeria, you talked about funding and you also talked about equipment. I'm wondering whether you think these governments have the money to fund the military enough.
As to whether they have the money, that I won't be able to answer it. But the government, they are building roads, they are doing projects, there are some other things they are doing which money is flowing into. So, but the question is that are those things really the most important thing now? Because if the country is not at peace, if there's insecurity everywhere, then all the projects you are doing is a waste. Nobody is going to ride those roads. At night now, it's difficult for people to even travel, even at home. Even the FCT is not even secured. So we should talk about securing the nation first, then every other thing follows. So I think the government will need to have to think of prioritizing security. They need to put, their backs well. You have to secure yourself first before you talk of doing any developmental distance. So National Assembly, they have a part to play, big part to play. The state government is not just collecting allocation and the next thing you're saying you are doing overhead bridge. Overhead bridge, what would the overhead bridge do? What economic benefits is it to bring? You are spending billions. Whereas you don't want to spend 100 million for security. So it's like we are just playing, we are just deceiving ourselves. When we put our priority right, then the country will move forward when we talk of in terms of security. Because, for example, now the police will not come out and say, we need money. DSS will not come out, but they are suffering, they are grumbling when they see all these things going up. And you want them to go and kill themselves when they have family, they are not going to work. So that's why we see when DSS bring information to the army, say, so it's we that you want to send there, what are we going to work with? Not this thing. They will not say it out, but their action prove that truly we need to get our priorities right. When we do so, you see that everything moves the right direction.
All right, Timothy, one more question before we go. It's been over a decade that Nigeria has been battling with this particular issue, insecurity, banditry, terrorism, and the rest of it. And as the day comes and goes, it seems like the situation is getting out of hand and getting worse. And I want to ask, from your own perspective, do you think that Nigeria as a nation would ever be able to eradicate insecurity? I mean, wiping out banditry, terrorism, and the rest of it. Just do you think we can get to that stage?
Yes, it's very, very possible to get to that stage. I think the president has kind of realized that he needs to take the bull by the horn now. Before now, I don't think he was seeing the seriousness of it. So, but now I have seen, for example, they have given orders, policemen from VIPs and all that, that you go to their roles, what if you take over and all that. Another area, maybe the military, they don't have rules in mounting roadblocks on the highway, checking trailers. What has that got to do with insecurity? No. So, like you mentioned, we can eradicate it. Even
all right.
this
Thank you so much. I'm sorry our time, we've run out of time, and this is where we'll have to draw the conversation. But I really do appreciate your audience this evening. Thank you so much for being with us on the program.
Thank you.
And this is where we draw the curtain for today's program. Timothy Avili has been speaking with us, who is a security expert, of the possible solutions in tackling insecurity in Nigeria. And don't forget that just as it's a collective effort to build the nation, security also is everybody's business. When you see something, say something. I'll see you again on Friday, but until then, keep watching Kaftan Television. I am Chinaza Asigo.